because I anticipate to get the rear torsion bar is going to be a problem because it was on the passenger side. There's a small washer that sits behind here. It's actually what this with the spring plate sits on, or you know, bumps against. So unfortunately, I can't get the torsion bar out of the spring plate. It was very corroded inside of the splines of the plate. So unfortunately what I had to do was this. So this actually, the top of it is actually a cap, but I found it nearly impossible to get out. So what I did was I actually drilled a hole and popped it out. And then I heated the ring up here. Obviously this doesn't have the rubber bushings, but I heated the ring up and just went to town hammering it out. I don't exactly know what this is called. It's like a valve for the hot air, because it's underneath. There's two of them. There's underneath, one on each side, passenger and driver, that I guess takes in hot air from the engine bay and brings it into the cabin. These are very, very small screws. I think close to 5 millimeters, which I don't have. All right, so this is the whole rear control arm. I already disassembled the passenger side, and I have some stuff on the other side of the garage drying because I'm painting it, And so that will be shown at another time. To give you an example, everything in here is really clean. I'm gonna start by putting the wheel bearing in, and it's in the freezer now. And I'm gonna slip it in. Make sure you pack the back of the bearing as well, like I just did before. In between the housing and the bearing, there's a small groove that there's a gasket that goes into it. The gasket is flat on one side and has kind of a beveled edge on the inside. That's what's gonna go in right here. What I'm gonna use is I'm gonna use a red rubber grease, because if I use petroleum-based grease or maybe an all-purpose, I run the risk of the actual gasket swelling. So I'll just put a thin coat of rubber grease on. This is the brake housing hub. This has a seal that sits right in here. How these seals work is, this is the original seal that I'm going to reuse, is they have a type of metal elastic type of spring. I don't exactly know how you call this. It sits in the grooves. Like so. This will sit spring side, faces the grease, so it's inside. You want a little bit of a lip on the outside. So I'm just tapping it in softly. This is part of the rear shaft. This is gonna go in the back. There is a rubber type O-ring that sits on this lip in here. Assembling the rear control arms wasn't super difficult, and luckily for me I was able to reuse a lot of the original components. In fact, all the bearings were original and worked very well. The only new pieces I have to get are these flanges for the torsion bar. The driver's side was good, but the passenger side had corrosion, and therefore I was able to break it through. I'm gonna have to purchase new ones. So what I originally wanted to do was completely disassemble the rear suspension system and then rebuild it. This way it's one less thing I have to worry about, and I remember how everything was put together. Now I will be able to put everything into storage and then focus my attention on the body in the rear end. There's some rust damage that I need to repair, and there's also the engine bay that needs to be cleaned and mended. So that will be my next project for the rear end. Anyway, thanks for watching.